All right, guys, we're gonna have some fun today. I think today we want to start doing some mock drafts, but we're gonna do a little bit different. What I want to do is I want to kind of go over and review some of the mock drafts you see over NFL.com and CBS and ESPN and things like that. A lot of the big time analysts over there are doing mock drafts, and I want to kind of give my thoughts on them. The first one we're gonna do today is Bucky Brooks. It's this 2.0 mock draft. Kind of go over where he has all the offensive players. We're obviously leaving all the defensive players off there because that doesn't matter really for fantasy football unless you're playing IDP. So as you see, the first set of guys we have up here, we have the very first book. Bucky Brooks has going number 2 overall would be Bryce Young. I'm guessing he's thinking they're not going to trade up with the Bears. They're going to stick down at 2. They're going to go ahead and land their guy in Bryce Young. Bryce Young is kind of a smaller quarterback. If you're thinking maybe like Drew Brees, Kyler Murray type of height. Going to the Texans, they need somebody. Davis Mills isn't really the answer. Most people have Bryce Young going here at number 2 to the Texans. Unless we see somebody on draft day jump up ahead of them and grab Bryce Young. Myself, I don't even think Bryce Young is going to be the best quarterback in the draft. I do think it's going to be either CJ Stroud or Anthony Richardson atop the boards as far as once we see maybe 5 years from now and looking back at this draft. But most people have Bryce Young going to the Texans. Bryce Young does grade out very well. He's a very smart quarterback, even though he may be a little bit on the smaller side. He can read defenses very well. I think that would be something that could possibly be very good for the Texans. They have 2 picks here early in the draft, and they're definitely going to use one of these on a quarterback. The next guy we have at number 4, we have the Colts grabbing CJ Stroud, is what Mr. Brooks says. I think that would be an amazing pick there at 4 for the Indianapolis Colts. They haven't really had anything at quarterback since they've had Andrew Luck, Peyton Manning, Andrew Luck, and then they kind of went over to Phillip Rivers, which didn't do too bad, but then they had Matt Ryan, that didn't do real good. They have nothing. They don't have an answer. They have the offense. They have Jonathan Taylor, Michael Pittman Jr. They've got some offense pieces that can maybe make some noise here. They just need somebody that can get them the ball. I think CJ Stroud can definitely be the guy to get him the ball. I think that's a great pick at 4. The next guy we have coming on down at pick 7 with the Raiders, we have them going with Will Levis. Will Levis, he's kind of a Big Ben type of reference in my opinion. The dude's got some guns. He's got a cannon for an arm. Really not that fast, but he's more of that pocket guy he's going to sling the ball down the field. He can flick the ball 70 yards like it's nothing. The Raiders, I don't know how that's going to work out. I don't think Will Levis is going to be a barn burner type of quarterback here. I think he's going to be an okay quarterback, more of a game manager. Will Devontae Adams get fed up with having a rookie quarterback at the helm? Will they go with Stidham at quarterback, let Will Levis sit for a year and kind of learn a little bit? We don't really know, but they do need to get a quarterback as well, and why not take a stab at Will Levis? I probably would go about Anthony Richardson here over Will Levis, but that's just me. The next guy that Bucky Brooks has would be at pick 12. We have the Texans up yet again, grabbing Jordan Addison. Addison didn't test very well in the combine. He came in a little smaller, a little slower than what we thought. His 40 time was in the 4.5s, and I think even one of them he ran in the 4.6. It didn't look too good for Jordan Addison. I think he's still going to be a good receiver. I think he came in at 6 foot instead of 6'1", where a lot of people thought he was. A little shorter, a little slower than what we thought. I think he'll be a solid possession receiver. I think he'll be a good receiver in the NFL. Do I think it's too high? I do, with Jackson Smith and Jigba being my number 1 rookie wide receiver as of right now. Number 2, Quentin Johnson. And then we have probably Jordan Addison at number 3 for me. But they get a wide receiver, so they get the Bryce Young, they get the Jordan Addison in this mock draft, the quarterback, the receiver. That's the way you got to start out some type of offense. Maybe they can move the ball up and down the field with these guys on the field. We have to wait and see. So the next guy we have going here is at 15 with the Green Bay Packers. It will be Michael Mayer. Mayer is a phenomenal tight end. This whole tight end draft class is impeccable in my opinion. There's at least 3 tight ends that I think will go in the first round. All 3 of these tight ends, whether it's Michael Mayer, Darnell Washington, or Dalton Kincaid, I think all of them can get it done. They have great hands, good route running, decent speed. So I think it's going to be good for the Packers, whether it's Aaron Rodgers there or Jordan Love. One of the two, they're going to need a tight end. Right now, Robert Tonyan, he's there. He's kind of a touchdown dependent kind of guy in fantasy football. We need somebody that's a little bit better, a little bit more smoother route runner, and Michael Mayer definitely gives him that. So the next person we're going here is we're going all the way up to 21, and my favorite person in the draft, the Chargers are grabbing Bijan Robinson. I know they've been looking for a replacement or a second back to Austin Eckler for quite a while now. They've tried and tried and tried. They're just not playing him. At Austin Eckler, he's getting a little long in the tooth. He's not going to be there forever. I think Bijan Robinson would be an amazing compliment here for the Chargers, sitting behind Austin Eckler for one season until Austin Eckler, they can probably move on from him, and Bijan, that would be his team. I think it would be a great thing matching up with a young Justin Herbert. You still got your Mike Williams and Keenan Allen on the outside. I think it would be absolutely phenomenal to see Bijan Robinson end up with the Chargers. The next person Bucky Brooks has at number 22, we're going with Jackson Smith and Jigba. This guy is amazing. This dude, we have to remember, was with Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave, and he had more receiving yards with them on the team at Ohio State. This guy is absolutely phenomenal with his hands, with his route running. He's not a barn burner. He's not going to be burning you down the field with a 4.3 speed, but the dude can run. The dude can route run. The dude can catch very, very well. He's my favorite receiver in the draft. I think the Ravens is probably not the best landing spot for him, especially even if you do have Lamar Jackson coming back. As of right now, we're not sure what's going to happen with him, but I just wish he would go to more of a pass-oriented type of team to really showcase his talents, but he does have him going to the Baltimore Ravens. Now, the next team that we have coming up is the Jacksonville Jaguars, coming in at 24, and we're grabbing Dalton Kincaid. I don't really like this pick either for the Jaguars. I think they've got their tight end right now. They may have franchise tagged Ingram, but I think he's young enough to get the job done for a while. I don't think they need to use a pick here on the offensive tight end spot. Maybe I would go probably offensive line to help out, or just play it on the defense and keep stacking that defense up. But they do have Dalton Kincaid going for the Jaguars. Got great hands, good route running. He's very smooth the way he does it. I think it would be a good pick as far as just having another weapon for Trevor Lawrence, but I just don't think it's much of a need right now. They're really, really close to winning at a really high clip, and will Kincaid give them even more of a boost? We have to wait to see. So the next guy we got coming in at number 25 at the New York Giants, and a much needed wide receiver. They're going with Zay Flowers. Zay Flowers kind of a speedster. He's a little bit on the shorter side though. I don't know what it is with them when they're wanting their little short Wandale Robinsons and Kadarius Toney. They don't want to get these big receivers what they really, really need, but Zay Flowers, another speedster on the outside, giving Daniel Jones somebody else to throw to. I assume Daniel Jones will be back with the team, but they needed to go wide receiver. But in this mock draft, Quentin Johnson is still on the board, and they didn't go with Quentin Johnson. They'd rather go with Zay Flowers. I'm not really sure about that. I would definitely rather Quentin Johnson over Zay Flowers at this point, but that's kind of where we are. So the next guy we have is Dallas Cowboys at 26, getting Quentin Johnson. Now, matching up with CeeDee Lamb on the outside, that would be a scary offense to go against. I do think they probably could go with a tight end. I'd probably rather Darnell Washington here. Dalton Schultz probably won't be back with the offense, and Darnell Washington would be a great fit for this team. But Quentin Johnson's on the board, kind of drafting him just like CeeDee Lamb happened. And CeeDee Lamb just fell into their lap, fell all the way in the draft, and they drafted him. I think the same thing here with Quentin Johnson. He is my number 2 wide receiver, rookie wide receiver on the board myself, and he fell all the way down to pick 26. Kind of a steal in my opinion. So the next person we got going down here at 29, Bucky Brooks has these New Orleans Saints grabbing Jahmyr Gibbs, and I love this pick. Alvin Kamara probably will not be on the field. He definitely won't be on the field, at least a long suspension for the first half of the season. I don't expect him to be playing football anytime soon. He's facing some felony charges. I mean, he could be having some prison time, and it's not going to look really good for him. But Jahmyr Gibbs graded really well in the combine. He looks really good out of Georgia. He's got the speed, he's got the hands, he's got the elusiveness, and they need a running back here. They just signed Derek Carr. I think Jahmyr Gibbs would be a great complementary piece with Gibbs, Derek Carr, Chris Olave. I think that would be looking really, really good. Now the last guy we have here at pick 31 with the Chiefs, they have him grabbing Jalen Hyatt, the wide receiver from Tennessee. I like Hyatt. He's okay. Nothing he does flashes to me. I think he's going to be a good receiver in this league, but I don't think he's a wide receiver 1 by any means. But the Kansas City Chiefs just need somebody else to throw to. They have Sky Moore. He's coming back. He's doing really well. I'm not sure if they're going to have Juju Smith-Schuster back or MVS back. But grabbing another wide receiver would be a good idea for this team. Jalen Hyatt, just give them another pair of hands for Patrick Mahomes. So that's kind of the mock draft. My quick thoughts of Bucky Brooks going over his 2.0 mock draft. I'm going to have a couple more mock drafts coming out here soon. I think it's a lot of fun to seeing what other people have these guys going to and kind of seeing what's the fantasy impact of these guys and where they could land. So other than that, I can't wait to see you guys on the next video. We'll see you guys next time.